Ben Checketts, thanks for coming on the OP show, dude.
Thanks for having me.
I think this is show number 30 or 33, 32, something like that.
32.
This guy, busy guy. Rhone's been taking off.
It has. Feels like a lot of work to get there. And, you know, people have been like, oh, overnight, you guys are everywhere. And it's like, oh, well, it's been 10 years.
It's been a long time. But we're here now.
But we're here and things continue to go well. And so we feel really, really blessed.
That's incredible, dude.
Yeah.
We love the brand, dude. It's obviously, I've got a bunch of your guys' stuff.
Thank you. Yeah.
My dad wears like the same Rhone shirt every Saturday. I was like, Dad, and it's one that I gave him too, actually. I was like, it's time to upgrade, dude.
Dads love Rhone.
They love Rhone, dude.
They do.
Great brand. Thanks for coming on. So we start every OP show episode with Out of the Box first.
Okay.
Out of the Box first segment. So this is kind of like the late night show with Jimmy Fallon, only it's funny because I'm the host,
because
not
you're
Jimmy.
better than Jimmy Fallon, for sure.
Jimmy's not funny, dude. Yeah. Shout out Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Fallon's not that funny.
Yeah.
He laughs
the
at
better
everything.
Jimmy.
Yeah, the better Jimmy.
For sure.
So first question, what are some of the challenges that you faced early on in the business and in your career that now help you obviously overcome new challenges with the business?
Yeah, so I'll take those maybe separately. So for career, one of the things that I was challenged with early on was just not having an attention to detail.
Yeah.
Like I'd get things to like 80% and then I'd push them across the finish line.
Yeah.
And I think that actually for a startup, that's a really great thing.
Sure.
But it's also a challenge when you're trying to get things, you know, really feeling cohesive and consistent, especially for a branding guy like myself. And so, you know, I'm kind of just, I want to hurry up and press launch before it's ready.
Yeah.
Because I want to beat other people to the punch.
Yeah.
You know what a competitive a-hole I can be.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that's part of it. But as a creative director, it's also kind of polishing that rock, so to speak, and making sure that it's completely perfect before you go to market.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's an advantage. Sometimes it can be like a real challenge for me. It's just part of my nature.
So what's the trade-off though with the perfectionist mentality?
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, we've got to like really iterate and get this completely dialed in and perfect before we push it versus the speed that you were used to early on in the career.
Yeah.
Right. So where's the trade-off now that you're 10 years in with Rhone? It's like, how do we get close to perfection, but also still be quick?
Yeah, great question. I think when you are trying to get something to market that you feel like speed is a competitive advantage. So for a product, for example,
it's like the women's line.
Yeah.
Big
women's
launch.
line. Women's line was a huge launch, and I would say our messaging and our branding was pretty tight behind it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that we had everything figured out from a communication standpoint because we knew as a brand, you know, if you think about concentric circles, there were going to be messages that resonated with both men and women that we were already pushing out.
Yeah.
And then we were going to continue speaking to men, and then we were going to start talking to women. And so there were going to be messages that were specifically geared towards the women's side, specifically geared towards the men's side, and then that fall in the middle, and we call those kind of, you know, your true brand moments.
Yeah.
So, but I will say the product took a long time to develop because we wanted it to be nearly perfect.
Yeah.
So.
And how do you do that for the women's category that's like, I think for men especially, right? Obviously being a man that's bought plenty of like athleisure gear over the course of my life. Rhone's like the quality's a step above. So when you compete in the women's category and you start launching new products within that vertical or towards that demographic, what was kind of like the biggest, like, okay, hey, we've got it moment?
Yeah.
When you launched that product line?
Great question. I think that I was talking to Megan about this earlier.
Yeah.
Shout out to Megan.
Shout out Meg.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, that's right. We got her right as she was taking a video. Dude, perfect timing.
Women are so trend driven, and it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we actually sat down with 3 separate feedback groups, and they were people who were linked to the brand through their husbands or having bought for their husbands or boyfriends or whatever.
Cool. So they already had a relationship
They
with
already
the brand.
had a relationship with the brand, but
good.
hadn't necessarily purchased, you know, anything for themselves because they were buying it for the men in their lives. And we sat down with them and we said, you know, what is it that you want to see from Rhone? We even talked about Are we adjusting the logo?
Yeah.
And ultimately the feedback came back that, we want the logo. We want the captain stitch. We've been
sick.
looking at that forever
Yeah.
on our
Yeah.
the clothing we're buying for men. We want that for us, but maybe we want it in a different application. And so we, toyed around with some of that stuff. We looked at, our first line, I would say, was relatively safe. And we hired an amazing chief product officer. She came over from Athleta.
Oh, nice.
She had built Athleta's basically business from ground to when they sold to Gap, and then she left because she was ready for her next challenge. And so she did an incredible job of just making sure the fabrics were as good as they could be, which is consistent with our men's side.
Huge.
We're known for our fabrics, and then making sure that she dialed in the fit and the finishes and the details. And so played it relatively safe by going with an active angle. And now we're kind of going into this new frontier of doing the commuter stuff, but for women, which nobody really does. Nobody makes kind of the technical, flexible workwear for women. So that's kind of a brave new frontier for us.
Yeah.
And that's why we launched with active to prove the concept. And now we're going into this new category.
That's fantastic.
It's
Taking a risk,
lot of work.
taking a gamble.
Yeah, definitely a risk, but we also feel really good about the
Yeah.
marketing position. And it's worked on the men's side, so there's no reason why it shouldn't work on the women's side. And the early results are really good.
That's
So,
fantastic.
Yeah.
Congrats, dude. That's huge.
Thanks. Yeah, our product team is like second to none. They're awesome.
Who's your product person? What's her name?
So her name is Kelly Cooper.
Kelly Cooper.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Shout out Kelly.
She's a visionary.
Go at her on LinkedIn if
Yeah.
you're listening to this.
Yeah, she checks LinkedIn like twice a year.
That's perfect.
Which is great.
That's the right type of connect that we want, dude. They're not posting all the time like me or Ben.
Yeah. She does check her
a good follow.
She does check her Wi-Fi speed a lot. That's like her favorite site is the Wi-Fi speed tester.
Yeah.
Dude, she does that twice a day.
That little dial.
Yeah, she loves
That's
it.
fantastic. Okay, if you were granted 3 wishes,
Okay.
and you can't use the last one to get more wishes, what would those be and why?
I can't use the last one, but I could use the first one.
No, okay. You can't use any of them. Trying to find a loophole.
3 wishes. So I would say that I could stay healthy forever,
Okay.
right? Not live forever, but just like be healthy and be
I
able
like
to
that. Yeah.
play with my kids and my grandkids forever. Healthy body. And then I would probably say number 2, same thing, but for my family, extended to my wife and children and subsequent
2 wishes.
grandchildren.
Wow. Just be
just for
healthy.
health.
Yeah.
And I would say number 3. It's a good question. I would say, probably that Rhone would, overtake every other athleisure brand in the market.
There's the competitive side.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
That we would rise to success because again, it would obviously provide a financial boon to me, but that's not why I'm in it. But it would just allow us to really hone in on what we feel like is our message of this, of inviting people to live healthier, better lives, right? And that comes with, everybody speaks to physical performance, but we really focus on mental health.
Yeah.
And I think it's a message that the world needs. So, that would allow us to do more in that arena and to help more people. We have kind of this audacious goal to help 100 million people and to donate a certain amount of money to mental health charities. And so, it would be a great thing to be at the top of the market, but it would be a great thing because it would allow us to help people.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's huge. Talk to me about some of the mentors you've had in the course of building. I mean, obviously you've been in business with your brother,
older brother. Yeah. Nate, who's my co-founder and CEO. And he is definitely a mentor. He's probably the one that has been around the longest, has, stuck with me through some difficult stages of life. And has taught me more about business and relationship building than anybody I know. He's a wonderful relationship builder. Everybody I meet, I met someone this morning at a run club who knew Nate well and was like,
love that guy.
Love that
just
guy.
hyping him
He
up,
just always, he's always reaching out. He's always thinking of others, and that's truly who Nate is. Sometimes to the fault where he doesn't take care of himself.
Yeah.
So I have to be the jerk that's like, you don't need to go to that. Take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's been a wonderful mentor. I would also put my father in that category, who, kind of a...
Sound like Tom Brady over here, dude.
That's
Ask the question. My dad.
That's the worst. Yeah, that's the worst comparison ever. I hate Tom Brady. Shout out to Tom Brady. I hate you. But my dad has...
TV12, dude.
Yeah.
He's trying to get into space now.
Well, actually, Brady brand just sold to Noble.
That's right, I saw that.
That was him putting up the white flag because they weren't doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, they can spin it any way they want, but that's the reality of the situation. He's been an important
Great quarterback sucks at business.
mediocre quarterback. My dad has been, he's worked in sports business. He's been in some real interesting positions and knows a lot about it. So he's been great. And then, throughout my career, my first job was actually at a place called IMG College. And IMG College is college in sports marketing for colleges. My specific region was the SEC and ACC. And the guy who started that company,
Roll Tide,
Alabama was one of our properties, was a guy named Ben Sutton. And Ben was just an amazing leader. Really smart guy, but also just a great, focused on the people, focused on the relationship. So he's been a mentor to me as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And how did that translate from working in that area translate into Rhone, right? Like, so you got kind of your start college athletics, and then when was kind of like, okay, you and Nate were like, hey, let's do this now. I'm ready to like fully jump into this.
Yeah. We were working on it on the side, and Nate was at the NFL. I was at IMG College. And so a lot of overlap in the areas that we were handling, kind of these larger sponsorship deals. So I think it gave us a solid foundation for, okay, what are people doing in terms of marketing currently, and what is broken about these systems? Because we would sell packages to these schools and be like, can't believe people are spending money on this stuff. It's clearly you just want season tickets and you're using it as a business expense, which is cool. Like, I hope one day to have that kind of budget.
Yeah.
But also, what's broken about marketing? Where can we do better? And we were both coming to the table to our bosses with creative solutions to these problems. And I think the main thing that we saw was just so much inefficiencies in the way that it was, run up the ladder.
Yeah.
And then you'd never hear about it. Or if they ran with it, you never got credit for it. And so we wanted to do our own thing. And Nate is kind of a serial entrepreneur. I always wanted to work for like a Nike and have kind of a creative influence over both product and branding and marketing. And so at the time, Lululemon was killing it. My wife is from Western Canada, so she's been wearing Lululemon since she was very, very young. Their second store ever was in Calgary, in her hometown. Wow. So when we met in college, she was like, I have the perfect Christmas gift for you. When I go home for Christmas, I'll bring it back. And it was a Lululemon hoodie.
There you go.
And so I loved that hoodie. I wore it every single day.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything about the brand. Bought some stuff for my brothers for the next Christmas. And, we all kind of fell in love with the product. And then I remember the first time walking into a store, a Lululemon store, being like, oh, wait a minute. This is not a brand for me. Like, I'm not a yogi. I'm not a female.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I belong here. I'm used to the idea of like a Nike or an Under Armour, right? Like, those brands really appeal to me. And so we thought if we could take those two elements of like really premium, subtly branded apparel and marry it with a brand that we loved or that like got you fired up, then we would have something, right? And there was so much space in that market that we decided to just go for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you remember those old commercials with Under Armour, the click-clack?
Click-clack?
Yeah.
Protect this house? Yeah. You were ready to run through a wall.
That got me fired up.
Absolutely.
That got me fired up. But the quality of the stuff at Under Armour and like just the logo, there's something about like the logo and the brand I just never connected with it. Whereas with Nike, it was like such a connection. If you grew up playing sports, you're like, dude, I have to get Nike.
No, I completely agree.
I want to be the best.
I remember the first time I put on like a real legit pair of Nikes on my feet, I was like, I could run
You're like, I'm
faster.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like Mike.
Just like Mike. Actually, Michael Jordans weren't allowed in our house because my dad worked for the Knicks. So
oh, that's right.
That guy was our enemy.
Yeah, that's tough. But you could have.
But now I have
like
several.
What was a shoe that was worn by some Knicks players?
Patrick Ewing had his own shoe.
Ewing, that's right.
Which was pretty lame, to be honest. I didn't get it.
What about the Starburys?
The Starburys. He was kind of after my dad's time at the Knicks. Yeah, but I do remember those. Yeah, those were also terrible. I wore Kobe's. The Adidas, like the original Adidas Kobe's, and then when he went to Nike.
The Crazy Eights.
Yeah.
Those are sick.
So sick. The marshmallows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's one of the places that you've traveled for work, Rhone related, that left a lasting impression on you and Nate and others within the business? So you guys go all over the place to
we
like
do.
shoot content, source product.
Yeah, we do. It's a great question. I kind of have two answers. So I'll say from a product standpoint, we went to Italy, which is where we source all of our commuter shirt fabric. And we met with this mill that's been around for hundreds of years, but they've
Crazy.
kind of adapted.
Rich history.
Yeah. They're outside of Milan, and they've adapted kind of these new technologies to create this super fabric, if you will.
Yeah.
And just meeting with those guys, sitting with those guys, seeing the factory was like totally changed my perspective on what was possible.
Yeah.
And we were able to shoot some amazing content there. And then we actually went down to Cinque Terre, which is highly recommended, like right on the coast. It's beautiful territory. And we did a little shoot there as well. But I would say creatively, we did a shoot in Iceland.
Oh, wow.
And one of the
I've
most
seen pictures, too.
life-changing experiences
Really?
I've ever had.
Why
Yeah.
was it?
It's just a stunning landscape. Like
Yeah.
every time you think you couldn't possibly see anything more beautiful, you turn another corner and there's something else, right? Waterfalls or these, glaciers that you hike up. We took crampons and axes and hiked up this one glacier. And it also was...
Tell the folks at home, what is a crampon? What is that?
Okay,
I've
so
never
that's
heard of
like a slip that you put over your shoe with spikes on it.
Yeah.
Makes it easier to climb up an icy surface.
Okay.
So, but
Oh, that was long.
yeah, it was an unbelievable experience. And then we actually rented, because we were doing the photo shoot, we wanted that kind of like quintessential Defender going through a river.
Yeah.
So we rented these 2 white Defenders and just ripping through these rivers was like,
Unreal.
I mean, it's a huge playground for
Yeah.
adult
Outdoors
children like
yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so stunning. And the other thing about photo shoots is, you have to wake up early to get the right light.
Yeah.
In Iceland, the light stays like flat all day.
Yeah.
So I remember waking up at like 2:30 in the morning, panicked that we had missed the sunrise. And they were like, oh, the sun doesn't really set or rise at this time. It kind of just like stays on the horizon.
That's crazy.
So you can kind of shoot all
Because
day.
you're so far north? Is that the reason why?
Yeah. And it was the time of year that we were there as well.
Yeah.
But it's a stunningly beautiful place, and the people are kind. Food is pretty mediocre, to be honest, but that's not why you go.
No.
Yeah.
What'd you eat while you were there?
The thing that we found that was the best was like the burgers, but then they'd try and throw something weird on there, like pickled herring or something. And you're like, just
Don't do
ketchup.
that. Don't do that.
Just give me some ketchup, guys.
Just give it to me straight, Doc.
Straight down.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been in Rhone and doing Rhone for like the last 10 years.
Yep.
How do you stay inspired, motivated? You've gone through a lot of different phases of the business now.
Yeah.
But like versus where you guys are at now versus where you were at when you started, I mean, what are some of the new challenges that you're excited to tackle?
Yeah, so staying inspired for me always brings me back to like what my first foundation for marketing was, which was my major. I was an English major, which is kind of a non-traditional major for a marketing person. But what I found in English was just this love for communication and language. I really fell in love with like poetry, not necessarily writing poetry because I suck at that, but reading poetry. And like Walt Whitman is one of my icons, one of my heroes. Actually,
Shel Silverstein.
Shel Silverstein, for example. Actually, my kids love Shel
Up there.
Silverstein, dude. Yeah, where
Up there with Whitman.
the sidewalk ends. So my second son is named Walter after Walt Whitman.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And
Big
so
fan.
huge fan.
Yeah.
And many others throughout there. I love Hemingway. I always go back to that source of inspiration when I'm looking for kind of new campaign ideas, because I think that for our brand, which is we try and speak to people not in kind of an Under Armour way.
Yeah.
Right.
Click-clack.
You're still in high school type of a way, but
A
more
little bit more
so
sophisticated.
yeah, you're you're a father, you're a mother, you're working, you're trying to stay motivated in your own right. To me, we have a more sophisticated relationship with our customer, the way that we speak to them, the campaigns that we make, and a lot of the grounding or the backing for the campaigns that we've used have been literary sources. So we actually did a whole campaign about Song of the Open Road, which is one of Walt Whitman's most famous poems. We did a video about using Robert Frost's poem, Promises to Keep. It's called Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. We called the campaign Promises to Keep. And it was all about this dad who's going out in the winter and running, and he promised his son he'd be home to read him a bedtime story.
Yeah.
And so he's
But
like
then he
running.
slips off an icy ledge. And
Dies.
No, immediately. Comes
would
back
be-
as Jack Frost.
Yeah, dude.
Actually,
Michael
they make a movie
Keaton?
about him. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, we couldn't afford Michael Keaton.
Yeah. No one can.
No.
Stuff these days.
These days, yeah.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
So we use that as kind of like our constant source of inspiration. And then in terms of new challenges, just really sinking our teeth into the way that we talk and market to women, which is different.
Yeah.
And we're trying to respect it as almost two different sides of the business. Because I think when you get into this very homogenous way of speaking to both genders, I won't point any fingers at any other activewear companies, but I think there's a lot of people that do it. Viore does it, and it drives me crazy. I don't get it.
Thank you.
They have like couples dressed in the same color on the beach working out together, and I'm like, nobody does that.
No.
Do you know anybody that does that?
No.
No. So we try
name one.
and meet the customer where they're at. We try and speak to them again in a more sophisticated, elevated way. We hold them to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And at times, there's just going to be messages that resonate differently with kind of those two customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
I love that. So that concludes segment number 1 of Out of the Box.
Okay.
Now you can see factor cap. Megan brought it up a little too early.
That's okay. Shout out to Megan.
Shout out Meg for letting them know.
How many shout outs are we allowed? I think we've reached our...
There's no cap.
No cap. That's good. That's a good segue.
That was intentional.
This guy's a pro.
Okay. Yeah, so we're segueing into segment number 2, factor cap.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
I won't look at the screen until I'm allowed to.
Okay, so I'm going to read off the instructions on the screen.
Okay.
So we're going to test your knowledge and intuition by guessing whether a presented fact is true, fact, or false, cap.
Cap. Sure.
So there's going to be statements displayed on the screen. Players must decide. 1 point's going to be awarded to each correct guess. There's going to be 10 attempts.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? Factor cap, let's let it rip. Number 1. Meg, do you want to read this one out? Actually, no one can hear you because you don't have a mic. Do you want to read this one,
The
Ben?
Great Wall of China can be seen from space. That's a fact.
That is fact. Cap.
What?
That's a big wall.
Wow.
China's not going to like that. They're not going to like that at all. Shout out to China for building that big ass wall.
Not.
yeah. We're in a tough situation with China right now.
Yeah.
Number 2. Humans only use 10% of their brains. I think it's 10. Fact.
Yeah, fact. Let's go fact. Oh for 2.
What is it? 5? What is it?
It's
We
not
don't even
10.
have the answer.
Whatever it is, it's not 10.
Look it up.
They use 100%, but only 10% was conscious.
That seems like kind of a stupid.
Yeah, this feels
loophole.
misleading.
Yeah.
No more shout outs to Megan.
Yeah, let's look at who wrote that. Let's look up the right answer.
The idea that humans only use 10% of their brain is a myth. In fact, scientists believe that we use our entire brain all the time.
Scientists believe, dude.
Yeah, that sounds loose.
Do we actually use it? What's the difference between a scientist believing and just you and I believing?
Also, there's probably times where we only use 10% of our brain. Like when you're watching a football game,
Yeah.
it might be less, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Shout out Cougs.
Shout out to the Cougs.
Shout out to Coach
Jake-
Kalani
Jake Retzlaff.
Satake. Yeah, and,
Dude, I
and
love
Retzlaff.
Kalani.
Yeah,
That guy is a legend.
good guy.
Good guy.
Good guy. Number 3. The Eiffel Tower can be up to 15 centimeters taller in the summer because the metal expands.
The metal expands.
That's going to be fact because the first 2 were
I
cap.
feel like that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I also don't trust Megan. I'm
You
going
can't
cap.
trust her. Fact. 1 point. We got it.
Oh, man. I'm not good at this game.
Okay, number 4.
You can hear a lion's roar from 5 miles away.
There's no
5 miles?
way,
No
dude.
way, right?
No way.
I'm going to say cap.
Cap. Fact.
Wow.
Who's actually recording that, dude? 5 miles away. Oh, you know how we could test this? You know the MGM lion at the beginning of like a James Bond movie?
We go
Let's
5
just
miles away.
we go 5
blast
miles
that.
away. Let's just blast it. Full blast.
Yeah.
If it's a Samsung TV at 100% volume, you're still not going to be able to hear it, dude.
There's
I have that thing blasted. And Samsung, you need to up the quality on
Yeah.
your audio. Number 5. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system.
Shows
Cap.
how little I know about
That's
the
cap,
world.
dude.
I need a
forgot
point,
about
so I'm going to
Venus
go
as a
fact.
planet. Fact.
We're tied.
I said cap, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're tied.
we're
1-1.
I got
Number-
1 and 5.
Number 6.
About to go on a run here.
Goldfish have a 3-second memory span. Fact.
I've seen Ted Lasso. I think that's a fact.
I think it's a fact. Cap?
Oh,
What's the answer? 5
It
seconds?
it is short.
It's short.
3 seconds.
Tal, look it up for me. What do we got?
We need a fact check. A cap check.
Cap check. Yep.
Months and years.
That's not right.
Dude, Ted Lasso's full.
That's
of
not
crap.
right at all. We'll get someone else.
Yeah.
Next one, number 7. The longest river in the world is the Amazon River. Mississippi? Ever heard of her?
America? Where are you going?
I'm gonna say fact.
I'll go cap. Yes.
What is it?
The Nile.
Oh, the Nile.
I think the Amazon is the biggest because it's super wide.
Super wide. Yeah.
Like I think it has the most volume of water, I feel like. I could be making that up.
I like that. We'll never know. Number 8. You want to read this one?
The human nose can smell over 1 trillion scents.
1 trillion.
Are there 1 trillion scents?
I don't believe that either.
Doesn't make sense to me.
1 trillion. Fact.
Yeah, let's go fact. Yeah.
Fact. Okay.
All right.
What's
Ken,
the score, Meg?
Doing better in the backswing.
Do you know the score?
I think
One, you guys,
I have 2. I think you have
3.
3.
I think
Yeah.
that's right.
Number
It all
9.
comes down to these last 2.
Number 9.
Sharks have been around longer than trees.
Cap. There's no way, dude.
Yeah, I think cap. It feels like one of those, yeah.
Dude, that's so fake, dude. That's so fake.
A megalodon?
You're telling me
seen that
sharks
movie?
have been around longer than trees?
I should know.
There's no way.
I should know the sequence of the creation by now, but I don't.
Yeah. We'll figure it out, dude.
Figure it out.
Book a couple more appointments, dude.
I need them.
Number 10. Bats are blind. Fact.
I'm going to go cap.
Cap. Okay, sick. All right, Ben definitely won. Dope.
Yes.
Bats are
I think they're
not
like
blind.
mostly blind.
Mostly blind.
They use sonar.
They do.
We all
Just
know
like
that.
whales,
Just like whales.
but not sharks. If anything, whales should probably be around longer.
For sure.
If they use sonar. Anyways. Segment number 3 coming
All right.
up. What do we got? This might be a new one. Alphabet game. Do you know what that is?
I don't. I
Neither
mean,
do I.
let's
It's a surprise.
let's
every
find out
time.
together.
Yeah, let's find out together. Okay, you want to read the instructions for us?
Sure.
Ben?
There will be 3 categories. Players will take turns saying words associated with that category in alphabetical order. Player who takes more than 5 seconds to come up with a word loses the round. Example, category is cereal. Player 1 picks Apple Jacks. Player 2, Bran Flakes.
Bran
Player
Flakes,
1,
dude, what are
Cheerios.
those?
Yeah, but name a cereal with a B.
It's tough. Bran flakes?
Shoot.
Okay, all right, this is going to be tough.
Okay.
Let's rip.
Are you player? Are you? Do you
Category
go first?
1, animals.
Okay. I'll go.
Yeah, you go.
A. Aardvark.
Aardvark.
I'm just trying to throw you off.
Dude, what? Beetle.
C. Cat.
Dog.
E. Elephant.
Fox.
G. Giraffe.
What starts with an H, dude?
Hippopotamus.
Hippo. Oh, okay. So does that mean he gets a point then? Because he got it before I did. Is that okay? I lost. Okay.
She was counting.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
doing the 5-4.
Oh, it's yeah. Okay. Next category. Food. I'll start apple.
Banana.
Crunchy toast.
That's a qualifier. You go cinnamon toast crunch.
Cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah, good. Dinosaur nuggets.
Edamame.
Ooh. French food. Filet mignon.
Filet mignon. Oh. Grits.
Hot cakes.
Ooh. Intergalactic. Ice cream.
Ice cream is good. What are we on? J? Jello?
Kale.
Lamb.
Pudding.
M?
Are we on M? I went straight to P, dude.
You skipped 4 letters.
Mango.
Mango. Nutella.
Yeah, I skipped a whole bunch of letters,
Yeah.
dude.
And then O.
And then O, orange. You can use-
Pistachios.
yeah, you can
I'll
use
use something
pudding or
different.
pistachios.
Okay. Pistachio pudding. Oh, you got Q.
Cuisine.
Starts with a C.
Quiznos.
Dude, Quiznos. Give it to him. I love it. Rice. QR. Rice.
S, right?
Yeah.
Spinach.
T. Tuna.
U. What do we have? Oh, this is tough.
Do I have to steal if he doesn't
We're
get
3, 2. Yeah, still.
umami? Like
What
sea
is it?
urchin.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Fancy. Dude, I lost track so fast.
New alphabet game. Just do the alphabet.
Just do the alphabet. dude.
Just don't. Just do the letters in order.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, next one.
Oh, places
Places
to travel,
travel.
to. Amsterdam.
Botswana.
Whoa. Cairo.
Ooh, yeah. Delaware.
Nobody travels to Delaware.
No.
I'll go Egypt because I'm a cheater.
France.
Germany.
Hungary.
Italy.
Jackson Hole.
Kazakhstan.
We on L. Lithuania.
Nice. Maui.
New Mexico.
Ottawa. Canada. It's beautiful in the summer.
Beautiful. I guess you can use a city, right?
Yeah, dude, I've been using
Paris?
cities. Yeah, Paris.
P,
Right.
right? We're on P.
Yeah. Cute. Quebec, also Canada.
R, what is?
R. Reykjavik. Iceland.
Renton. Washington.
Yep.
Nice place.
Yeah, nice place. Sweden.
Tel Aviv.
Oh, Tel Aviv. URSTU. Uzbekistan.
Ooh.
Big Eastern European
Yeah,
guy.
big
I don't know if
Eastern
you could
European guy.
notice.
Yeah, Virginia.
Washington, D.C.
Is Xavier a place?
It's a university.
It's a university.
X.
Is there an
Dude.
X, dude?
Dude, I don't know. I feel like you've gotten tough.
Jing.
That sounds like
It's a
China.
name.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Yukon.
Yeah, Zambia.
Nice. We made it all the way through.
Stuff. Ben, you got 3 cameras on you. What's your message to the world?
Message to the world. Be kind to the people around you, especially the people closest to you.
Love that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we forget. I feel like especially with like family.
Often we forget.
Often
Yeah.
we forget.
And be kind to yourself.
Yeah. It's a great message. Yeah. Simple yet complex.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on today, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Finally got you.
Yeah. Anytime.